What's up, everybody? Justin here with a new episode of The List. I am live on this episode of The List. Huge breaking news has happened in the world of wrestling. I think this morning it broke like 5, 6 hours ago. It was broken by a Sports Illustrated reporter. Anyways, the breaking news is a major, just unbelievable, earth shattering shakeup in WWE creative. Paul Heyman is now going to run Monday Night Raw as the executive director, and Eric Bischoff. Yes, Eric Bischoff, the guy that competed with Vince for so long, and just WCW, we got to become number one when they were losing a ton of money for years and years and years. Bischoff turned around WCW and kicked Vince's ass. Paul Heyman, ECW, also kicked Vince's ass. And the two, I don't think Heyman, when he was running ECW, I don't think Paul Heyman was ever the enemy of Vince McMahon. But he made all the fans, all the ECW fans, Paul Heyman made them think that WWF was the enemy. Vince was the enemy, and Bischoff was the enemy. The two enemies that competed against Vince McMahon for years and years. And ECW did compete against WCW and WWF because ECW got on pay-per-view. They got on TNN. They got a cable deal. They had a home video DVD and home video release deal. They had a video game. They had an ECW magazine. They sold a ton in ECW merchandise, t-shirts, and their videos. This was reported again first by Sports Illustrated, and a reporter, and the guy's the same name as me. His name's Justin. But it's pretty unreal. Doesn't seem real that Bischoff and Paul Heyman, the guys that competed against Vince for years and gave him competition, real competition, ECW made Vince better in his product. WCW almost put him out of business. They pushed Vince to the limit. Bischoff kicked his ass for 83 weeks on Monday night, head to head. And Heyman in ECW was revolutionary what they did. I am not sorry for saying this because it's the truth. So my cell phone's ringing. I don't know who it was, but I just hung up on that. I'm live, folks, so anything can happen. Getting phone calls live on the air. I don't care who it was. Maybe I should look. Screw them. So what was I saying? It's the truth, in my opinion. Vince stole everything ECW did. Vince took and created the Attitude Era, basically. You could say the Stone Cold Austin 316 promo at King of the Ring 96. You could say that started the Attitude Era, but still, in my opinion, if it wasn't for ECW, Vince wouldn't have had the Attitude Era, and it wouldn't have been that successful if ECW didn't do it first. So I don't know how long this episode of The List live, I don't know how long I'm going to talk. But let's get to the main story, the breaking news. I'm going to read the article. Goes on to say, in a giant shakeup, and that is damn true, it is a giant shakeup. In a giant shakeup, to the WWE front office, Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff have been both named executive directors of WWE TV, as first reported by SI.com. Paul Heyman will be put in charge of Raw. Eric Bischoff will be put in charge of SmackDown. Both Paul Heyman and Bischoff will report directly to Vince McMahon. Bischoff will also work with Fox executives as SmackDown moves to Fox in October. Also goes on to say Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff will oversee the creative development of the programs. And WWE put out a press release, and WWE put out a tweet and said, breaking, WWE names Paul Heyman with his Twitter handle, Heyman Hustle, executive director of Raw, and Eric Bischoff, executive director of SmackDown. First reported, WWE says, by SI. So the press release says the creation of these roles establishes WWE's ability to continuously reinvent its global brand while providing two creative processes for its flagship shows. It says Paul Heyman ran ECW from 93 to 2001. I already know all that. And Bischoff also, it goes on to say, I'm not going to read the whole press release WWE put out because it's kind of boring. I know all that. I know about Bischoff and Heyman's history already and what they've done in wrestling. And I'll get to my thoughts in a minute on Heyman running Raw and Bischoff running SmackDown, and what I think is the good and bad for them being hired as executive directors. First off, WWE needed a change big time in their creative. Bruce Pritchard, the guy I thought was head of creative when he was brought in, I guess not. I don't know who the hell the head of creative is. It's probably Vince McMahon. But now things are about to change. And I really think, I'm not going to say I hope, I really think things are going to change in the next couple months for the better in WWE on Raw and SmackDown. Now, SmackDown's not that bad. They're not totally like Raw is not totally broken. The ratings, yes, have gone down to record levels of low ratings. But so what? The ratings will constantly go up and down. But if you made Raw better and really tried, and I think Paul Heyman is really going to try, I hope he can succeed, because Vince might not accept all the things Paul Heyman wants to do and all his good ideas. Vince might say no to them, not accept Paul Heyman's ideas, and not let him take the ball and run with it and score. But I believe if Vince keeps turning down all his ideas, all his creative ideas, I believe Heyman will just want to quit and be released if Vince doesn't let him have some damn power. So, anyways, of course, it's Vince's company, and the guy is going to have the final say for both Bischoff and Heyman. But Vince is starting the XFL again very soon. The guy should be busy and just let Heyman and Bischoff and Triple H and a few other people just let them run Raw and SmackDown without without turning down all their good ideas or all good ideas some of the talent has or some of the writers give to Heyman and Bischoff. Hopefully, Vince does not turn down good stuff that Bischoff and Heyman want to do. If he does turn them down, that is a big mistake. If he says no to all their ideas and everything they want to do and put on the show, it's not going to work. Heyman and Bischoff running the shows are not going to work if Vince doesn't put his ego in check and work with them. And I give Vince credit. Vince McMahon, the guy's an old man. He is an old man. The guy is a genius, what he has done and made WWE a global brand. But now he's an old man. He's an elderly man. So Vince, if I will give you credit for hiring Bischoff and Heyman to run Raw and SmackDown. Because Vince, you needed a change. You cannot fix WWE. You cannot fix the problems of your product and how bad it's been on creative. You can't fix it by yourself. So I really hope, I really pray that you let Bischoff and Heyman do what they want to do for at least 6 months. Give them a shot. Give them a chance. Because they're not stupid men. Heyman, the guy's a creative genius, I believe. The guy's a genius with getting the best out of talent and helping talent be better at promos. The guy's a genius at that. Look what Heyman did in ECW. The guy got a ton of fans to follow ECW that were passionate, hardcore fans of the ECW product. Now, I get it. Everybody did not watch ECW and wasn't a fan of it. I will admit WWF and WCW had more fans than ECW. But ECW changed the business for the better. And Paul Heyman was running ECW. Look what he got out of his talent. I will say, again, credit to Vince McMahon. He knows his product is in trouble. Low ratings. Again, they go up and down. I don't really give a rat's ass about the ratings. It does not affect me as a fan. I still watch no matter what. And I will still support WWE no matter what. I don't care what the ratings go to. All I care about is that they're on my TV, that I can turn the TV on every Monday and Tuesday, and whenever Smackdown goes on Fox, I believe it's Friday. So all I care about is WWE being available on TV for me to watch. I don't care how low the ratings get. That's not my problem. That's the company's problem. Vince knew he needed a change, and a big change and a big shakeup. And not just ratings falling after WrestleMania, some of the lowest that Raw has ever had, I believe. But the ticket sales, the live attendance, the attendance at a pay-per-view, stomping grounds, it was bad. I believe only 4,000 tickets were sold. And for Raw and SmackDown, under 6,000. Well, I don't remember the numbers, but they weren't good. If you can't sell out an arena for a pay-per-view with the most talented roster you have ever had, Vince, if you can't sell out a damn arena for a pay-per-view again with the most talented roster you have ever had, that's an issue. That's a big issue and a big problem. And hopefully, Vince, you're fixing it by letting Heyman and Bischoff that will have fresh ideas and will probably have storylines and fresh matches. I mean, thank God, Vince. You're not you're not such an egomaniac that you would not bring them in. And you would just keep your product the same that it's been for the last 2 to 3 months. And WrestleMania was really good, but after WrestleMania, things have not been good. TV, creatively, and just stuff not making sense, not using all your talent, underutilizing them. Live ticket sales ratings, it's not been good since after WrestleMania. Even merchandise sales are way down. So, again, I give Vince credit for hiring Paul Heyman and for hiring Eric Bischoff. The guy, Vince, obviously can see his company's struggling and he needs help. Thank God he's not totally out of it where he thinks he doesn't need help. What's up, Mr. Frizz? What's up? How are you doing? What do you think about Bischoff and Paul Heyman being in control of Raw and SmackDown? So let me get back to more of this news about Bischoff and Heyman. Goes on to say PWI. God damn, my phone's ringing again. So it goes on to say, or was, I can't find that part now. So yeah, PWI Insider is reporting WWE has been for Paul Heyman to take the role to run Raw. WWE has wanted Heyman to run Raw since February. Bischoff's deal with WWE was put together in the last few weeks. Also, so maybe the writing was on the wall because Road Dogg stepped down. He was a head writer of Smackdown. So maybe Road Dogg knew, I don't know, maybe knew Vince was going to bring someone else in to run SmackDown. WWE, it also says, has made a lot of changes to the creative team. Jeff Jarrett joined them in March. Bruce Pritchard joined the team in February. And Dana Warrior was said to be a key figure concerning the women's division. Dana Warrior, I'm sorry, I don't think she has any good ideas. I don't. Yeah, she was kind of knew about the business because she's married to Warrior. But that guy didn't know that much about the damn business. He was just money hungry and greedy. The guy would run away and leave every company when the guy couldn't get his way and couldn't get more money. You just walk out and leave. So Dana Warrior, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. Dana Warrior should not be part of creative when Bischoff and Heyman take over. She should not be, because I don't think she has any good ideas. Nothing against her as a person. I just don't think she has any good ideas. She hasn't, and if she has done been involved in all the women's storylines, she hasn't been very good at it because she hasn't been using all the women to their abilities. They've been underutilized, except for Becky and Charlotte and Ronda. And now Bailey, thank God, is getting a chance again and a push. She is still SmackDown champion. But you haven't used Ember Moon enough in storylines and matches. You haven't used Liv Morgan at all or Sarah Logan on Raw or SmackDown. So Dana Warrior, you suck at creative, in my opinion. So let's go to. Now, I thought Bruce Pritchard, I thought, was brought in as head of creative, that he went directly right under Vince McMahon, but I guess I was wrong because Vince, they got rid of Pritchard. I believe he's on the creative team, but he's not going to be running Raw and SmackDown. And I'm going to just compare Jeff Jarrett. The guy's a good mind for the business, but he shouldn't be in control of Raw or SmackDown. And I don't believe he ever was. He's just on creative. And I'm going to say this. I don't think they need like 20 to 30 writers that are from Hollywood. They need to get rid of all of them. Maybe keep like 5 of them. And just have Pritchard, Bruce Pritchard, Jarrett come up with stuff. Triple H come up with stuff. Road Dogg could maybe come back to the main roster, come up with stuff for Bischoff and Heyman to use or to work, or those guys, even Abyss, Shane Helms, Sanjay Dutt, Davari. Those guys should even be put on creative to come up with stuff to give to Bischoff and Heyman. They should all work together. These Hollywood writers, I'm sorry, they should not be involved in a wrestling show or product. I get it, it's sports entertainment to Vince, it's an entertainment variety show, but you still got a goddamn wrestling ring in the middle of an arena. So, in my opinion, WWE is a wrestling show and product because they use a wrestling ring. If they get rid of a wrestling ring, I'll say they're not wrestling anymore, they're entertainment. And Paul Heyman and Bischoff are wrestling guys. They have a wrestling background in the business. They were damn successful. So this is a great thing for WWE. I'm very, very excited. I'm optimistic. God damn it, I can't say that word. I'm very excited. And I'm very hopeful, very happy that Bischoff and Heyman are being brought in. Very happy about it. Very excited about it. It's a damn good thing. It's a damn good change that WWE and Vince needed to make. Now, maybe Vince only did this because he's desperate and he's feeling the pressure from low ticket sales. WWE Network subscriptions are down. Low ticket sales, low merchandise sales, ratings went down and they go up and down. But Vince probably brought in the 2 guys that he knows best. I don't think he knows Bischoff that good, but he did work with him for like 5 to 6 years. Or at least Bischoff came in 2002 to 2006, I think. So Vince knows Heyman a lot better, has worked with Heyman more. But my point is, Vince probably feels the pressure from AEW because they're starting on TV in the fall. And Vince is going to need 2 guys that he knows competed with him, took him to the limit, kicked his ass, Like knocked him down, threw dirt on him, and beat his ass. So Vince knows Bischoff and Heyman are probably really gonna help WWE when AEW starts on TV and on TNT. So back to more of the news about Bischoff and Heyman. So it goes on to say there's more news. I was waiting for the page to load. So we already know Bischoff and Heyman are going to run Raw and SmackDown. Hopefully, the brand split goes into effect again, and we have separate brands between Raw and SmackDown. No damn wild card rule. You need to get rid of that now. You need to drop it. So, in my opinion, this is great. This is awesome for WWE because hopefully Eric Bischoff, when he's running SmackDown, he feels like that he wants to make SmackDown better than Raw. And Bischoff might have something to prove that I can go head to head with Raw and Paul Heyman and kick their ass. Bischoff has done it before. He kicked Vince's ass. Yeah, he had Ted Turner's money, but so what? WWE has all the money in the world. They have more money than Ted Turner ever had. They have the best talent in the world available to Bischoff and Heyman for Bischoff and Heyman to get those talents over. And to get talents that have been not pushed, underutilized, to get them back on their feet and book them and push them and put them in storylines and make them top guys because WWE has a ton of great talent, new talent that they can push as main eventers. And hopefully Paul Heyman and Bischoff see that and realize how much talent they have available at their fingertips to push that Vince would not push. I don't know why, because he just had no interest in them or thought they were boring. I'm talking about talents. Let's say they stay on Raw. I'm moving my head to block the sun, but let's move this a little. Anyways, let's say they stay on Raw. Paul Heyman will have these talents available. Eric Young, the guy is great. The guy can still be great and super entertaining and be a main eventer. Will he be a world champion? I doubt it, but he could be used a lot better and pushed. Drew McIntyre, under Paul Heyman, that guy could be a main event star world champion, universal champion. EC3, hopefully he gets pushed by Paul Heyman. Bobby Roode, super talented. More Brock Lesnar on the shows. I don't know if there will be more Brock Lesnar, but maybe there will be. Drake Maverick. That guy's used a lot in the 24/7 storyline, but that guy's better than the 24/7 title. Drake Maverick is a great talent, a great talker. Hopefully he's utilized a lot better by Paul Heyman than he has been. AOP. I don't know if one of them is still injured, but AOP hopefully he's back on Raw under Paul Heyman. Also, the Viking Raiders, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, Dana Brooke, talents like that. Hopefully Paul Heyman gets the best out of them, and he will. Paul Heyman is not a stupid man. Look what he did in ECW. He got the best out of guys that really guys that would have never got over never would have been hired by WWF or WCW. And Paul Heyman got them over, got the best out of them. Guys like Balls Mahoney, New Jack, Little Spike Dudley, Rhino, Tommy Dreamer, a ton of guys, Raven. And of course, when Paul Heyman would get them over, they would then leave, and usually leave his company because they get an offer to go to WCW or WWF. Taz, the Dudleys, so many talents Paul Heyman pushed and got the best out of them that nobody else really wanted. It was a land of misfit toys, and Paul Heyman got the best out of them. The Sandman. The Sandman is a wrestler the guy really had no business getting over. He wasn't that awful as a wrestler, but he wasn't that good. And he'll probably admit it. But my God, Paul Heyman got the best and got the guy super over. And Sandman also got himself over, but a guy that smoked cigarettes and drank beer to the ring, Paul Heyman got him over. If Paul Heyman can get the best out of the Sandman, he can get the best out of all the talents he'll have on Raw. And I believe he will get the best out of them. A lot better out of them than what Vince McMahon has got out of them because he hasn't even used a lot of them. He's using the same people over and over and over. Hopefully, Paul Heyman will not. And he'll want to push new, different, younger talent. So, again, all those talents I named on Raw, I think Paul Heyman will get the best out of them. In the commentary, I'm going to just say on Raw under Paul Heyman, the commentary team should be Renee Young and Michael Cole, and that's it. No Corey Graves. Both on Raw and SmackDown, you should have a two-person commentary team. Renee Young, Michael Cole should be the commentary team under Paul Heyman on Raw. No Corey Graves to interrupt them and act like a rip-off, not a good, a hack, not even close to Bobby Heenan. So the commentary on Raw should be Renee Young, Michael Cole, and eventually after like a couple months, 3 to 4 to 5 months, have Michael Cole get off TV and retire and just have Raw commentary be Renee Young and Paul Heyman. On SmackDown, under Bischoff, I think Bischoff, I really do. I think he'll get the best out of these talents. Bischoff on SmackDown hopefully gets the best and pushes Asuka, Kairi Sane, Aiden English, Rusev, Nakamura, 205 Live guys, have the Cruiserweight division and the 205 Live guys on SmackDown because Bischoff knows how to use Cruiserweights. Also on SmackDown, under Bischoff, the commentary team should be Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips and I guess Corey Graves. Again, this is a smart hire by Vince McMahon. Very smart. He realized he is in trouble. His product, if AEW didn't exist, Vince would still be in trouble because the creative has been so bad and a lot of it has made no sense. So if there was no AEW, I would still be saying WWE has been in trouble for a while, for probably a couple years, because the ratings should be higher for Raw and SmackDown. And they've been dropping every year. So thank God Vince is woken up and seen the light that you see right here. Very smart hire by Vince McMahon to bring in Heyman and Bischoff. Again, Bischoff is 64 years old, but still, the guy has more brains at 64 than Vince does at whatever he is, 74. And Heyman is in his 50s. That guy still is super creative in his 50s than Vince. So now I want to talk about some of the bad. Well, let me get back to the article. Anybody watching, what do you think about Paul Heyman, Eric Bischoff being hired to run Raw and SmackDown? Do you think they will be allowed to get all their ideas on TV, or will Vince squash them and say no? So PWI, again, Insider, says according to a new report, they already knew this, they were trying to get Heyman to be in an executive role to run Raw for a couple months. But they finally came to terms recently. And the formal offer was made to Paul Heyman to be full-time top member of creative around the time Bruce Pritchard was hired. Paul Heyman, again, he's worked with talents, making their promos better. He's worked with Ronda Rousey, Alexa Bliss, and of course he's worked with Brock. But Brock doesn't need to talk. In regards to Bischoff, the deal closed the last few weeks. WWE offered him the position based on his previous work with Turner Broadcasting and Spike TV. Both men will oversee all creative aspects of their shows. It has been noted that there aren't plans for Bischoff on TV. Heyman is expected to still be on the air as Brock's advocate. But this is some of the... Now, I talked about the good. The good is that Vince is... Fine, let me block this. Anyways, that looks stupid. The good is Vince has finally woken up and realized his product needs help. And I think Bischoff and Heyman will help. And they'll get new excitement in the fans. They'll want to watch. So, but now here's the bad. And God, I hope Vince lets Bischoff and Heyman do what they want and not handcuff the talent anymore. Just stop handcuffing your talent so much. Hopefully that ends when Bischoff and Heyman come in. But now this is the bad part of it that I'm going to talk about. Not about Bischoff, really. This has to do with Paul Heyman and Vince McMahon's relationship, and I get it. Vince and Paul Heyman, they know each other better. Paul Heyman probably really knows how to deal with Vince. And probably, they used to have arguments and yell at each other back and forth. But Paul Heyman knows Vince better than Bischoff. So I don't think Heyman won't have trouble working with under Vince. And I don't think Bischoff will either. But the bad is, I hope this does not happen, but I'm in a little bit of fear that it could. Hopefully Vince and Paul Heyman do not start fighting over the creative direction of Paul Heyman's Raw. I hope they don't start fighting again about WWE's creative, because look what happened. There's a history between Vince not letting Paul Heyman do what he wanted to do with WWE's ECW. There's a really bad history there, where Vince totally killed what ECW could have been. ECW could have been a new version of like what NXT is now, but better under Paul Heyman. But Vince wouldn't allow it. He squashed Paul Heyman's ideas. And Vince turned WWE's ECW into his own version of ECW, which was fucking awful. I don't care if they pushed guys like Kofi and Sheamus and Jack Swagger and Mark Henry. They made ECW champions. Matt Hardy, Christian. I don't care that they were a part of ECW and got pushed. They shouldn't even been there because it didn't feel like ECW. It was Vince's ECW. And I'm just afraid Vince is not going to let Paul Heyman really have control of Raw. And I guess Paul Heyman does not have full control. He doesn't because Vince is his boss. But my point is, I'm just afraid that Vince and Paul Heyman and the relationship will go bad after 6 months of Heyman running Raw, that things are going to explode and Paul Heyman's going to want to quit and walk out of WWE. I just hope that doesn't happen. But this is a great thing because Vince, I hope and I think Vince has woken up and realized I need some help. I need to shake things up. I need to bring in Paul Heyman to run Raw. And I need Bischoff to run Smackdown. I don't think he just did this because of AEW starting on TNT. That is probably part of it. But he did it because of the low attendance and the drop in merchandise, drop in WWE Network subscriptions, drop in the ratings. And maybe Vince did this also, hired Bischoff and Heyman because he knows he's going to be busy with XFL. I don't know. I think Vince is nuts and will try to run both XFL and WWE at the same damn time. But he really should take a goddamn break and just focus on the XFL and be away for like a couple months or whatever, 3-4 months. But bottom line, me as a fan personally, how I feel this is a great thing. Bischoff running SmackDown, Heyman running Raw. Hopefully, Vince gives them a 90% power. And I don't know, Vince will have 10% power. I do believe Bischoff and Heyman sign contracts, and in the contract, I think it would say we are running the show. And if we're taken out of our power to not do what we want, to how we want to run it, if we are not allowed to, we are allowed to leave anytime we want. I think Vince has realized he needs help. He needs Paul Heyman. He needs Eric Bischoff. He needs the two guys that gave him the most competition in his life. Bischoff and Heyman gave Vince the most competition he ever had. Now he's going to be working with them. I love Paul Heyman. I do think he's a creative genius. When the guy's given like full power of a show. I thought it would have been great years ago. It was rumored Paul Heyman almost went to TNA. Paul Heyman almost was hired by TNA Wrestling to be the head of creative. That would have been great for TNA. But stupid Dixie Carter squashed it because she didn't want to give up power of not having full power in the creative direction of the show. Vince, please. Please, I'm begging you. Please give Bischoff and Heyman full control. And I think they'll have it because they sign contracts where it probably says they have full power to run the shows how they want. Of course, Vince could say yes or no because the guy's the CEO. So one more news item in this episode, the live list. Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley and Joey Janela at Fyter Fest this Saturday, 2 days away. I'll be watching it. By the way, it's free on BR Live or whatever the hell that streaming service is called. Anyways, Jon Moxley, Joey Janela has been made a stipulation. It's non-sanctioned or unsanctioned matchup now. It is unsanctioned by AEW. So maybe we'll see blood and other weapons involved. Who knows? I don't get Joey Janela. The guy to me looks like trash. Doesn't even look like a wrestler. Doesn't look like he's tough. Doesn't look like a badass. I don't get people that are fans of Joey Janela, but if you are a fan of him, that's okay. I'm not. I hope Joey Janela gets his fucking ass kicked. I hope Ambrose lights it and takes his cigarette and burns him in the middle of the ring with it. Because shame on you, Joey Janela, for even smoking those cancer sticks. Anyways, so hopefully non-sanctioned Jon Moxley, Joey Janela. Hopefully what I'm looking for is for Joey Janela to get his fucking ass beat. And I'll enjoy watching it. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the live list. Bye for now, everybody.